The Biden administration will begin airdropping food and supplies to Palestinian refugees in Gaza who are facing the threat of starvation. The president announced the move on Friday, saying innocent lives are on the line. It comes a day after Israeli troops fired at Palestinians during a desperate aid delivery in northern Gaza, which turned deadly when crowds raced to pull supplies off a convoy of aid trucks. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says more than 100 Palestinians were killed and more than 700 others were injured. Natalie Brand has more from the White House. Natalie, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. U.S. officials tell CBS News the airdrops are expected to begin as soon as this weekend. Now, Jordan and France have already been making humanitarian drops. The White House also indicated that aid delivered by sea is under consideration, possibly at some point down the road.
Dozens of parachutes holding parcels of much-needed aid, including food and baby milk, dropped to the ground in Gaza, where crowds of Palestinians rushed to collect it.
People are so desperate that innocent people got caught in a terrible war, unable to feed their families.
President Biden, seated next to the visiting Italian Prime Minister on Friday, announced the U.S. would join Jordan in airdropping humanitarian aid.
The truth is, aid flowing to Gaza is nowhere nearly enough. Now, it's nowhere nearly enough. Innocent lives are on the line and children's lives are on the line.
The White House says the drops will be part of a sustained effort, but National Security Council spokesman John Kirby acknowledges the complexities of such an operation.
The big challenge is making sure that it's physically in a geographic location that is close to people that are most in need. This isn't like an area of a humanitarian disaster such as an earthquake or a hurricane site. This is a war zone.
Airdrops are expensive and inefficient, and you only do it in the most dire situation.
Dave Hardin, a former USAID mission director in Gaza and the West Bank, warns airdrops could come with more risk than results.
It's a very risky undertaking. It's also not going to be anywhere sufficient to meet the needs of the people in Gaza. And more to the point, it's frustrating in the sense that the Israelis aren't opening more crossings that would allow for greater throughput.
President Biden says the U.S. would put pressure on Israel to facilitate more truck deliveries of assistance. It comes as he's facing increasing political pressure by voters to do more and back a ceasefire, as evidenced by this week's Michigan primary, a state with a large Arab American population where 13% of Democrats voted uncommitted in protest.
I'm hoping so. We're still working real hard at it. Not there yet.
As you heard the president say there, he's hoping for a possible deal by Ramadan, which begins in a little more than a week. The White House says an agreement for a 6-week ceasefire is still on the table to allow for the release of more Israeli hostages and to surge more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Nancy.
Natalie, thank you.